Okay, hello everybody. James Clark here inside of Back Agent with a video to show you how to upload a transaction. Let's say you've just either taken a listing or in this particular case you have executed a contract on a buyer side. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come in here and add a transaction. This transaction is going to come to me to review, and this is going to make sure that you're not missing any paperwork and that you're clear to close, and most importantly that you get table funding. That's one of the best things about this system. Not only is it a checks and balances for you so that you make sure you stay within compliance on all your dates and paperwork, but it virtually guarantees that you're going to be able to fund at the table, which is what we all want. So here we go. Transactions. Click on transactions. This is going to show your transactions, and what you can do is you can come over to the orange, click add a transaction. It's pretty simple. Now you just start answering questions. What category of transaction? Residential, sale or listing, sale or lease. I'm a sale. Where would you like to start? Here, start. It's pretty self-explanatory. It gives you the classifications of what it is. You can start really in any category. I would suggest that you don't start past contract because that means you took a little too long to get your paperwork submitted. So please try to start no later than here. So we're going to start a contract. Party do you represent? I represent the buyer in this case. Who is the buyer? Now in this case, you come in here and you start typing in who your client is. If they're not already in your system as a contact, you have to fill in all this information. You can either put either a phone or email. You don't necessarily need both. My client's already in the system, so I select her, select contact, I'm done. I come over here to confirm and save, hit create new transaction. All right, so here's my transaction. As you can see, new transaction created right here. And then scrolling down into the transaction summary. Orange is bad. Orange means we have work to do. And if you notice, there's 1 action item, 2 action items, 12 action items, 2 action items, and then you also have a checklist of 23 things. So basically it's pretty simplistic. You start knocking off from left to right the orange tabs. So let's do that. Property is our first thing. We have to set the property information. So we're going to come in here to set the property. I don't like to add the basic info. I like connecting it to the MLS. This Back Agent is tied to our IDX, the IDX feed of our matrix system. So I'd stick with this. I also wouldn't recommend doing the street address. It's a little finicky identifying the street address, especially if the agent on the other end didn't input it exactly right. So I like to go in by the MLS number, and you come in here and hit search. It finds it for you. Here's the property we made an offer on. We're executed. Select listing. Okay, set property now. Now you see how our property went from orange to gray. That means we're good to go. Step 2 now. I'm going to come in here to the next orange tab, which is updating our contacts. I have the buyer. I have the buyer's agent, me. Now we're going to, now you see these things are orange. Require now. Add seller. Okay, we're going to add them. And then we're going to add the cooperating agent in this case. Now the cooperating agent in this case is Caroline. I've dealt with Caroline before, so she's in my system. So I just click her in here. Select contact. Now my contacts are grayed out. Next step, next orange box, dates and info. This one's really simple. You got 12 action items in here. It's basically a bunch of questions you have to ask. It's a little bit of a pain answering all these questions, but it's nice. It's a really good checks and balances. So when you first begin working with the client, let's try that again. And you're basically just coming through here and answering these questions. It's really self-explanatory. You just need to make sure that you have the dates correct on like when was the contract executed. It's going to, it's really going to cover your basis. See right here, inspection period ends. So it's good to know because the system will remind you. February 27th. It's a little, it just takes a little bit of time. I know it can take a minute, but It's really not that bad. Type of ownership status, conventional resale. Like I said, these are pretty self-explanatory. No, this property was not built before 78, so I don't have to worry about lead-based paint. Is the property subject to an owner's association? It asked this because if it is, which this one is, it's then going to change the document requirements. I don't know if you noticed, but it just went from 2 to 3 because it realized that we need more paperwork. It's a pretty intelligent system. Is there a sinkhole in the property? No, or we wouldn't be putting an offer on it. Contracted sale price. Okay, now watch this. What type of financing is the buyer using? 3 documents. I want you to pay attention to this, okay? FHA, we just went to 5. So the system is very intuitive. I love that this system thinks for you. So it's pretty cool. So optional. This is an FHA mortgage. What amount is being financed? You can come in here and, calculate this out if you want to. So in this instance, you don't need to do this. This is just one of those things that you can do. So you come in here and get your little calculator out. FHA, you're putting 3.5% down in the standard FHA, so 220, 985. Okay. When was the buyer's loan approved? Well, it hasn't been approved yet. Hopefully it is here any minute now. All right, next step, next orange box, documents. Okay, so you see all your orange. Remember, everything's pretty much orange when you have an issue. So residential contract, let's go find that. Okay, you're gonna click attach document. You're gonna, now here's 2 different features in Back Agent. One, you can just simply upload it from your desktop if you have it. However, let's say that you're in the office. You can scan it directly to your Back Agent email. If you haven't set this up yet, make sure you see me. Back Agent has an email address that you can forward. Let's say you're in the office and you want to use the copier. You can literally scan your contract straight into Back Agent so that when you log in to upload the transaction, the documents are already there. Or let's say you get an email from an executed contract from another buyer's agent or seller's agent or whatever the cooperating agent may be, and you can forward that email to your Back Agent email. This way the documents are waiting for you in the inbox. It's just a nice thing not to have to go through and upload all these files. I was not that efficient, I apologize. So we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way of having to upload it, but it's really not that bad. So what I would suggest to you is have your contract split up. It's a little bit easier. I mean, you can dump it all into the system and break it apart. Me, I'm the I dotter T crosser, so I like to make sure I have everything separate. So right now I need the contract for this document, so I've got it on my desktop, and I'm just going to drag and drop it in here. And it's going to go through its process of uploading all the pages here. Apologize, it takes a moment. And you're going to see that it breaks out each page, which is a really neat feature. If you've dealt with contracts for a lot of years, I had to actually go buy Acrobat Pro just to be able to break up my contracts, because sometimes you only need certain pages for certain things, and it can be a little bit cumbersome. This system just does it for you, which is really awesome. So in this instance, you could, let's say you uploaded the entire thing in one, you could specifically tell, no, I just want certain pages. In this instance, I'm going to upload these all because all of this is the contract, and I'm basically just going to hit select all, and there it dumps them all into the system. And we're going to save the document. All right, I went from orange to blue. We're now good. Next, I need the FHA addendum. Select this. I'm going to attach a document. Again, I don't have them uploaded into the system, so I'm just going to upload the document straight away. Okay, it's going to come into the system. I'm going to tell it to add to the page. Okay, come back over, create document, save it. Okay, now I'm down to 3 things left. Homeowners Association. Now here's the thing too. This is what's nice about the system. You have attached document or request exemption. If for some reason there's an exemption and you don't need to have that paperwork and the system is prompting you, hit here, request exemption. It's going to ask you why there is an exemption needed, and then the system will alert me and I'll be able to just go in and say, oh, okay, yeah, that this particular documentation isn't required in this instance. So that's not the case for this. There is an HOA and I do need the documentation, so I'm going to attach the document. Upload. We're going to dump the file into here. Add the page. Create document. Save it. Okay, almost done. I know it's a little monotonous, I know. Okay. We're going to attach the seller's disclosures, upload. What's really nice about this too is once you upload this into the system, it's cloud-based. So all your documents are always going to be accessible to you in the cloud, which is a really nice feature about this system. So, one of the things that we strive to do, in Alton Clark is to employ technology so that we don't have to spend a lot of time and take up literally a lot of space. Technology is huge in this business, and it's something that we promote heavily to make ourselves a little bit more efficient so that you guys can spend more time doing what you do best, which is selling. All right, selecting all, create document. All the seller disclosures have been uploaded. Make sure they're executed, signed by all parties. Okay, I got one left. I got the wood destroying organism report. I actually have it because not only we executed, but my client wanted to get the inspections done right away. You might not necessarily have this when you're doing the initial upload. You may have to just come back in and, certain things you're not going to have the paperwork for right away, and you'll have to come back to it, and that's okay. The system won't let you forget, don't worry. All right, so it uploads that. Unfortunately, this WDO is clouded. We have some WDO issues we have to address to get a clear WDO report. So I still have some work to do in that regard. Okay, doesn't this look nice? No orange. Now, you have the system's going to prompt you sometimes. You'll get prompted for our buyer's representation agreement, which if you can get, especially if it's, let's say, a prospect or a boomtown lead or, whatever kind of lead that you got. Maybe it's not a family or friend or sphere of influence. I highly recommend a buyer's representation agreement. And if you have questions on that, come see me. What you will have to get later is a HUD-1 settlement statement to upload into here. That's not something you need to worry about now. Where we are in this process is we just went execute and had inspection. So a HUD-1 isn't on my radar just as of yet. I'll probably be taking care of that here in the next couple days. So where you are now basically is you've gone through all the necessary phases, right? You're green, we got no orange. You're basically good to go to pre-closing. Now, particularly if you're new, or even if you're not new and you just want to make sure you're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, come up here to your checklist. There's 23 actionable items. All right, and it's just going to be a way that the system helps remind you to make sure things are done. It's really pretty cool. You don't have to do it. I've set it to where it's not mandatory, but it's just an added tool for you. Okay, making sure you did everything. Has the contract been executed? Yes, it has. Have all parties been notified? Yes, I sent contracts to everybody to be in compliance. Yes, obviously we made an offer. Yes, I negotiated already. Yes, I have full copies of everything, and they're uploaded into the system. So you can see it's just a checks and balances for you. If you're brand new to the business, I highly recommend, I strongly recommend that you use this. If you're a veteran and you're like me and you like I-dotting and T-crossing and making sure you have everything, this is a great tool to do. But no, it's not mandatory. All right, so next step, pre-closing. Check, start, check showing, check contract, pre-closing. Now, here is where you are going to finalize your deals, okay? This is where you're going to submit your paperwork when everything is done to get a table funding request so that when you go to closing, you're literally getting paid then, okay? So we got orange tabs. Orange tabs are not good. So we come up here and click here. Oh, the title agent. Okay. Well, let's come in here and let's input broker's title. Jackie Carson's she's awesome. She's our rep in this instance. So we're going to select contact. And then we're all gray but one. Dates and info. When is the actual closing being held? Okay. Closing is being held. Now this should not differ from the date you've already sent. You've already submitted with the paperwork. However, we all know things change, so the system will be redundant. Now, missing items done. Good job. We are all green. We have no orange tabs up here. Okay. Now, just as a side note, over here you'll see expenses, notes, and history. These are for you, for your own personal tracking purposes. Let's say you somehow incurred some manner of expense that would be reimbursable, which really you shouldn't be. But let's say maybe you want to track it for your own purposes. You can do that documentation in here. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, I want to emphasize this to you. When you submit to close and to get table funding and have this all approved, make sure you are in the pre-closing phase. Do not submit from post-closing, okay? Because basically what you need to understand is you're asking for a table funding authorization right now is basically what you're asking for. So if you're asking for that after a closing, the system is going to say, why are you asking for table funding if it's already funded and it's already closed? So you're going to get a rejection and you're going to get pushed back to pre-closing. So make sure you submit from pre-closing all the time. Otherwise, the system's going to give you an error message. Okay. So dates and info. If you want to double check all this, you can and should. And then you basically come up here and you hit submit. Okay. Create funding request. The transaction has been submitted, but you want to create a funding request. Okay? Now, when you come in here, you're going to need to know a lot of information. Okay? You're going to need to know, the commission amounts, the net pay due to you. A lot of this stuff is going to be set for you, and you won't have to worry about filling any of this information out. So basically, whatever information you do need to fill out, you fill out, and then you hit create funding request, and then the system's going to auto-generate you a letter once everything's been approved. You take that to closing, and that's how you get paid at the table. I can't emphasize to you enough, please make sure this is done well in advance. As an agent, there's nothing more frustrating than you not getting paid at closing. It's completely unnecessary. It's one of the things I did not like. Working in some other brokerages, because it's a big corporation, things always had to pass through, huge payroll offices and everything else. And it was a mess. And that's not what I want, not what I wanted as an agent. That's not what I want as your broker. I want to be able to make sure that at every single closing, you guys are getting paid at the table. Broker's Title and other agencies that we have a relationship with, that's no problem. Make sure if you're closing with, let's say, a a seller's title company, make sure that we have an existing agreement with them so that you can have table funding. Please check with that title company. If not, there's a form in Back Agent you need to provide them for that authorization. Okay? Back Agent is a phenomenal system. It's only as good if it's used. Please, this is a phenomenal tool to help you to keep you organized and to make sure literally that we're not making any mistakes, because I know I don't have to tell you all are professionals and you understand that you're dealing with hundreds of thousands, in some instances millions of dollars, people's single greatest investment. We can't afford to make mistakes. Alton Clark, we want to have the reputation of excellence, results, excellence, and customer service, and the excellence part is not slipping and making mistakes. And this system won't let you. It's a little bit of a pain sometimes to get through, but I promise you, in the end, it's going to be much, much easier. Okay, so if you have any questions or you need a one-on-one with this, please come see me, and I'll be glad to help you. All right? Good luck. God bless. Bye.